Show AMC, GameStop, and a lot of the meme stocks are crashing. Is this the end of the meme stocks? We're going to hear from Michael Burry. Of course, he was the brains behind The Big Short. He says the fun is over. Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia could be standing in the way of stimulus once again, proving once again that he is the most powerful senator in the land. He gets to drive the narrative. So we're going to hear from Senator Joe Manchin on all of this, on stimulus, not good. And how many jobs do you need to work in order to make ends meet in the United States? Can you guess? Let me know in the chat. How many jobs you think it takes in order to make ends meet in the United States? Morning Invest starts right now. Welcome to Morning Invest. I'm Clayton Morris. This is the show that teaches you how to build wealth by turning those short-term profits into long-term holds. We're live every morning right here at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Good to see all of you. Philip is in the old control booth today. David is off today. Good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you. Good morning, everybody.
So a lot of people weighing in. So Frederick says 2 jobs. It takes 2 jobs. Kimberly says 3 jobs. Tyler says 3. Isn't that crazy? Like, that's like top of your head right now. It's like, oh, 3 jobs, 2 jobs. Remember when George W. Bush famously was giving a speech and a woman said, Mr. President, you know, I currently, I work 3 jobs to take care of my kids and provide. And he just stopped and he said, that is just uniquely American. And everyone give her a round of applause. That's just did he not get the irony of, I don't know. Oh,
yeah, there's that great disconnect, you know, like oh man, It's amazing. Like, what's funny because I don't think about it, but I do one thing, but I have multiple clients, so it ends up being where I might as well I could consider it working like 2 to 3 jobs.
Right. Yeah. Multiple clients, multiple gigs. I mean, and that's just very, very common. But we're going to tell you how many. It's a pretty stunning number in fact, to live and work in one of the biggest areas of the country in the cities. We'll tell you about that. Also, by the way, did you see this? I don't know how many of you guys want to try this or not. We featured this in the newsletter this morning. How many of you would be down to try this? This is new. And apparently people love it. It's the Kraft macaroni and cheese ice cream. This is out. This is taking the internet by storm this morning. French ice cream. Would you guys try this? I would say absolutely not.
Yeah, I mean, I don't eat ice cream. Like, I don't really eat sweets at all. So I might taste it, but I wouldn't eat it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Be like, okay, I'm done. I'm good. Like, but that being your favorite ice cream, I don't know. Cheese and ice cream, no thanks. So you get your hands on that. That is now on sale, so you can get some of that. All right, let's check the markets this morning. I want to get into what's going on with AMC, what's going on with these meme stocks. The movie theater chain stock tumbled 15%. 15% down. Not looking good right now. AMC share price gets cut in half as reality is starting to set in. 15% down to $33 a piece on Wednesday. That's less than half of its all-time high back on $72.62 back in June. In early June, the decline brought its month-to-date losses to 41%. Also, GameStop, the original sort of king of the memes, that stock has also fallen more than 21% this month. And you have newcomers like Clover Health and Clean Energy. Clover, I traded some Clover, CLOV, a few weeks ago, made some good money on some trades there, day traded that. But it has also plunged down 34% and 22% for Clean Energy Fuels Company. So not looking good. I know you hang out on the Reddit forums, Philip. What are people saying, like on Wall Street Bets? Are they... I mean, I don't know what's going on over there.
Well, I've been a little bit busier lately than usual, but 2, it's been kind of quiet overall on most of the subreddits. It really spent when some of the memes coins kind of like took a dive, like when Dogecoin stuff. I guess it was like everything kind of like quieted down with them. So I haven't really seen a whole lot on the AMC, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, they're just being quiet. I mean, the question is like, well, where are these apes? Everyone talks about, Ape Nation, like, I don't know any apes. Like, I mean, and I'm saying that not to be sarcastic. Like when people are like, no, we're apes, we're ruling this thing. We're running the show here. It's like, well, okay, but where are they? Like, where are these so-called apes hanging out? Like, I don't know where. I don't know any of them. You know, a person that owns one share of AMC is not an ape. You know, a few shares. That's not. We're talking people that own millions of dollars worth of shares, and they're just getting squashed right now. And AMC, you know, I don't know what's going to happen, but I can tell you that Michael Burry of The Big Short fame, he says that these meme stocks are done. He said these things are going to crash as new money continues to dry up. He says that the Reddit-favored meme stocks are set to crash like the dot-com bubble and the housing markets of previous decades. He says we're running out of new money available to jump on the bandwagons, Burry told Barron's newspaper. You know, he says, I don't know when meme stocks such as this will crash, but when we probably don't have to wait too long, he says. He says, I believe the retail crowd is fully invested in the theme, and Wall Street has jumped on the coattails. And I think, folks, that's what I wanted to talk about a little bit this morning, is that, you know, you have all of this market manipulation from Wall Street. They learned their lesson. They learned their lesson on GameStop. They got squeezed hard. And now you can see it. All you need to do is day trade. Well, you can see it, the market manipulators. Right in the algorithm, you can see the algorithm's working. And you know, they're not going to get screwed again like they got screwed on GameStop. They have an infinite pocket. You know, they have an infinite bank account to work with. So, you know, King Vortex Gaming here says, I'm an ape. Thank you for the super chat. And it's market manipulation going on right now. XX shares. King, I mean, you don't have to tell me how many shares you own, but if you want to, you can tell me in the chat. Like, do you own a lot of shares? And what does it mean to be an ape? I'm curious what that means.
So the apes in that were more, like I said, almost like closer to not really activism, because it wasn't necessarily like the social justice aspect of it, but the apes are the ones that, you know, like what they say, diamond hands, like they have the stock, they're not selling it back. So they were trying to short squeeze Citadel and some of these other hedge funds that were like shorting it, you know, like 1,000% or more, you know. And so that was the whole like ape thing, as far as I understand it. I mean, I fully admit I'm not 100% like involved in it, so I don't know. It's just what I've gathered.
Tyler says are you saying you can? Tyler says you can beat the institutions. Did you mean to add a T there, Tyler? I think you can't beat the institutions. I mean, good luck. You might get lucky from time to time, but I'm telling you, when they have an infinite pocketbook and they have infinite resources where they can trade both sides of the fence, short, long, short, long, short, long, back and forth over the at certain pennies and certain 10-cent frames. I mean, good luck. But really getting squeezed right now. I just don't see it. I mean, I don't. The only stock in, I mean, it's just the institutions do control the markets. You know, they absolutely do control the markets. But, you know, again, I just don't understand. So I get the point of it, like diamond hands and holding these things. But holding it for what purpose? Like, if you're holding it because you really believe, like, is there someone who's like really an AMC enthusiast that they absolutely believe that AMC is going to be incredibly profitable? Is it someone that really loves movie theaters? I just don't get I'm just not sure what the end game is if you're diamond hand holding AMC right now.
So because
how are they going to expand? How are they going to expand?
Well, that's the thing, is what they're doing is it has less to do with the. I mean, it's like the common phrase is, you know, I love this stock. So they're constantly saying they love the stock, but really the idea is because these hedge funds were so overextended with these shorts that by not selling the stock, by holding onto the stock, like buying it and holding it, they can't actually close their accounts like they need. I can't remember the exact terminology, but so these hedge funds then can't buy those stocks back that they shorted like they need to. And so they're essentially like losing billions. That was initially what had happened with the whole GameStop and AMC.
I just don't see it. I mean, early this morning we're down 6. AMC down already, down about 6% in the pre-market already. GameStop is. So Michael Burry saying, well, this this free ride is over. I thought it was interesting last night too. I mean, there's an idea floating around. What if AMC and GameStop merged? Like, there you go. Now we'd have something. But here's how it played out yesterday as these stocks are continuing to plummet. Watch this.
AMC announcing it's not going to seek shareholder approval to boost the number of shares it has outstanding. Remember, Chris, this is important because the company has reached its limit in terms of how much stock it can sell, how many shares it can actually have, and it needed authorization from shareholders to sell more, to raise more money, to potentially change its trajectory in some fashion.
So what do you do now? You know, I mean, how do you grow? If you're AMC, what do you do? You know, you've got maybe some cash, so what are you going to buy up other movie theater chains? Is that how you expand? But if people aren't really going to the movies in droves like they used to, is it a growing market, especially when you can watch Black Widow on Disney Plus at home? I mean, Disney saw a huge surge in quarterly earnings. I mean, I don't know about you, but to get all of the kids in the car, get to the movie theater, deal with all of that, it's much easier, like on a Friday night, just order some pizza, sit down, turn on Disney Plus and watch Black Widow and pay like that extra premium for it. And then you're saving money because you're not driving anywhere. You sit there. You don't have to deal with masks and all that garbage. I don't know about you, but what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm much more apt to sit at home and watch something. But that brings up something that I guess I've never really thought about and until you mentioned it just now. But can a company just create more stock shares and sell it like you could like a currency? So if
a split, so what you're doing is you're doing a stock split, and so you're taking your 100 shares and you're splitting it into 200. So it's basically a dilution of the shares, and you're in many ways you're making each share less valuable. And so
I was wondering if there's because that would almost like a stock market inflation. Like, does that happen? Like, can they when it starts trading at a certain point, is there a fixed number of shares that a company has, and they can split those, but they can't just create more. Like, you could just print more money, right?
Well, in some ways you can. I mean, that's the thing. That's why I'm not a huge fan of owning companies like this, like paper, having paper assets, because again, if a stock goes down to $0 in value, that's what happens. You end up basically with zero. I mean, and because the board is going to be taken care of first before any shareholders will be taken care of. Yeah, they can absolutely, when they IPO, when they have their initial public offering, you have a set amount that's up for sale, the float, if you will. That's how many shares are available to buy. And then as a company expands and, you want to sell more of it, then they end up, doing a split. And therefore, each share is basically worth less than it was. King Vortex says GameStop is offering an NFT dividend very soon, which will expose all of the FTDs and synthetic shares. AMC just sold out all their theaters for the UFC pay-per-view. Interesting. So, King, I'm just curious, why are you an ape? What are you so bullish on with this? I just don't understand it. I don't. And it's not, and I'm asking because I don't know. I really just don't understand. What is the bullishness on AMC beyond the meme aspect of it? Beyond the hey, we're sticking it to Wall Street aspect of it. I get that piece, the David and Goliath piece. But where do you see real growth? Brenton, no, you are not the only one that thinks NFTs are stupid. You're not the only one. I still have a lot of questions about NFTs. I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, see, I was gonna say no, Brenton. You're the only one on Earth. Everyone else is like, no, let's all get on board, all of us.
Yeah, let's all get on board with non-fungible tokens. Okay, I'm just curious. I'm just curious. I love movies. I love going to the movie theater. I absolutely love going to the movie theater. I do. I love big event movies. But this, I have to think, will be the first Marvel movie that I haven't seen in the theater. This will be this Black Widow one when we watch it this weekend. That's going to be the one,
We just got done with Loki, my daughter and I. And so,
I want to watch that. I haven't seen that yet. Is it good?
In my opinion, yes, very. So
I heard it's the best Marvel show they've ever made. So
I mean, I agree.
Yeah. Nice. I want to check that out. So, yeah, if you're just tuning in, AMC share prices get cut in half. Reality setting in now for the meme stocks and GameStop pre-market. Down about 6% in pre-market. Again, that's on top of the 15% it was down yesterday. Good luck if you want to play this stock. Just take a look at this morning. It's just been a continual decline from its all-time high. So good luck. Good luck if you're playing that. You're hoping this thing's going to bounce back. Good luck on it. Good luck. Hey, we do have some other stocks I'm watching, though, today. These are the stocks I'm watching on this Thursday that I'll be day trading a little bit later today, ones that I'm most excited about. So Zila, HUDI, hoodie. I guess I'm going to call it hoodie. CDIM, Arlo's popping, and DTSS. But fairly weak across the board. I would say, it's, I don't know. I think across the board, the scanners are looking pretty weak right now. But scanners shouldn't dictate your day. I'm just kind of looking at my scanners right now, and hoodie HUDI still holding up a bit, needs a little bit of a pop. But pre-market, these are the biggest movers right now that I'm keeping my eye on. So we'll see as the market opens here in about 45 minutes. All right, we've got a lot of other news to get to today. We're going to talk about stimulus, the child tax credits rolling out, what Jay Powell thinks about the economy. We're going to hear from him and so much more. Plus, get in your votes now. How many jobs do you think it takes to make ends meet in the United States? How many jobs do you have to work? Drop the comments in the comments box here, and we'll see who's right about it, at least in one particular city. We'll get there. But I want to tell you about our friends over at Podium right now. Look, I think it's so incredibly important if you're a business owner to be able to communicate with your customers, and how to do it in the 21st century. How to do it now, you need text messaging. So Podium is on demand. You basically want to be able to communicate. You can especially have those things emerge from this past year where you want to get an answer to something quickly. You need to get it answers quickly from whatever company you're working with. You can't just wait days to get answers anymore. If you're a business, that's going to crush you. I will move on and work with another company if you can't communicate. Your customers have grown to expect a simpler way of doing business, no matter what's your product. That's why more than 90,000 local businesses of all sizes have turned to Podium. Here's how Podium works. It makes doing business as easy as sending a text message, because when texts get open, business gets done. All your employees can text from a single inbox, offering a smoother experience for your customers. Answer questions, send a text. Collecting reviews for your website, send a text. Schedule an appointment or delivery from your company, send a text message. Payment collection, just send a text message. What's really cool, retailers are increasing revenue by allowing customers to shop via text messaging. Even with stores open, many people still want to just shop from home. A jeweler just sold a $5,000 ring with a few text messages and even coordinated curbside pickup using Podium. A dentist in New York City had $1 million in overdue collections. He sent everyone a text payment request and collected $700,000 in just 2 weeks. That's awesome. So here's where you get to try it, even for local businesses. Stay ahead of the competition with Podium. They have free plans for growing businesses, plus all the power growing businesses need to scale. Get started for free today at podium.com/invest. That's podium.com/invest. Our thanks to Podium. All right, let's talk about the child tax credit, everyone, because they started today. Did you check your bank account this morning? You might have noticed that your bank account was a little bit larger this morning. Well, it's the biggest win for parents since basically the invention of the iPad. You don't want the kids talking at dinner. You prop up an iPad in front of them. The IRS is going to start sending out these supersized checks for the expanded child tax credit, the CTC. That starts today. So a lot of you, I'm curious, let me know in the chat, have many of you woken up this morning to see that you've received it? If you are, obviously, you have to have kids. That's part of the deal. You have to have children that you know about. And in that way, you would be a candidate for this. So I'm curious. You got mine. So Tina says she got hers. Tuffy says, I'm still waiting for the $1,400 stimulus. Carlos says he got his. Brenton says he got his. There you go. Crystal says hadn't gotten it yet. Well, as part of the coronavirus stimulus package passed back in March, the Biden administration set aside $105 billion to hike up the child tax credit to $1,600 per child. It's one of the White House's biggest economic policies. Here's why. The expanded child tax credit is expected to cut poverty by nearly half, according to a study from Columbia University. Almost 90% of the U.S. 74 million children would qualify for the program. Some of the standard credit increases went to $3,600 for a child under 6 and $3,000 for a child between the ages of 6 and 17, compared to the current $2,000 per child under the age of 17 years old. So the CTC is now fully refundable, meaning low-income families who don't owe federal taxes can feel the credit's full effect for the first time in recent history. The real big question to me right now is it going to stick around? Like, are we going to continue this? Or is this, it's just stimulus and Democrats won't get on board with trying to push this even further? Will people like Joe Manchin sort of sit on the sidelines with this? The current expansion will expire after 1 year, but President Biden asked for a 4-year extension in his American Families Plan. I think it's got to push further. Some senators like Cory Booker, New Jersey's Cory Booker and Colorado's Michael Bennet, want to make it permanent, saying it will have a profound impact on working families. Say it's the most transformative policy coming out of Washington since the days of FBR. That's what Booker says. I think it is too. I can't name another program that's as large. He says that'll receive, there's a lot of lawmakers right now who are sort of pushing back on this idea, saying it's too costly and it will disincentivize parents from finding work, which, as we know, there's been no evidence of that. And it's going to lift people out of poverty. What it means for businesses, though, Cohen called the expanded CTC an underappreciated stimulus plan that's going to boost sales for retailers like Walmart, Target, Nike. So a lot of these companies, we saw that during the first run of stimulus, right? That these companies had record earnings. People, when they have money, are spend it on backpacks and school clothes and school supplies and things like that. And they actually put it back into the economy. And it helps businesses. It helps small businesses as well. Maria says, I got mine, but I was shorted $50. Crystal says, I don't see how $300 a month will make that big of a difference. I mean, maybe you can't see that. And I'm not saying you're wrong, Crystal, but for a lot of people, $300 a month per child is transformative.
I mean, that's easily what my what my daughter eats in groceries like every month. Just her. I'm sure that's even on the low end. I mean, having a teenage daughter, like she's voracious sometimes. Yeah.
I mean, think about, okay, you need new shoes for school. You need, shirts and shorts or whatever. You need, hey, there's summer camp. They've got a soccer camp or whatever. They need to get cleats. I mean, all these little things just continue to add up. Torman says, I got my check yesterday. I have a 16-year-old, a 15-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and 2 1-year-old kids. Received $1,600. Not complaining, just thought the math was $1,700. Grateful anyway. Yeah, because it's under 6. So 6. So I'm not sure on the math either. I guess it depends. It certainly depends on income level and all of that as well. But it's a big deal. I mean, I think it's absolutely transformative. Maria says, I should have gotten $300 from my 3-year-old, but only got $250. $300 a month would help my income a lot, but it won't happen for people like me. I needed that stimulus 10 years ago. My kids were at home, Janet says. Frederick says, yeah, what about college students? Books. Yeah, exactly. Well, that's also a huge ripoff. I mean, these textbooks at universities. I remember I was stunned when I went to the University of Pittsburgh and I had to go to the school bookstore. And you're like, what, $150 for this stupid statistics book? Are you kidding me? I don't know if it's gotten any better now, like where you can just get them on a Kindle, a digital version of it for a fraction of the cost. I don't know if it's any different, but that's awful.
It's the same price. I was paying because I went. Let's see, it was what 2000. It was the later 2000s when I was at Portland State, and there were some textbooks that I paid like $120, and it was a printout in a 3-ring binder that the professor had done. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous.
That's ridiculous. Yeah, I remember I had a music class for my guitar class, and my professor he had his own book, right? It was like the teacher's name on this like blue paper printed thing with like a hole punch on the end, and I ended up having to pay like $39 for it.
Oh yeah,
and there were photocopies. They were like photocopies of his sheet music. $39. What a racket! I mean, don't even get me started about overpriced universities in the United States and why we're even sitting in student loan debt to begin with. But get me started there. But yeah, it's just disgusting. So that's starting today. The next big thing we want to talk about today on the show is Jerome Powell. And I want to talk about what he had to say yesterday. So a lot of news. If you watched my video last night, I kind of gave a nice little early summation of it. Now that we've had more time to let this digest a little bit. This morning, treasuries are up as a result of the Fed showing basically continued support for what's going to happen here in the marketplace. So the treasuries rallied overnight. Wall Street basically saying, hey, this is great news. Jay Powell says that, so for now, we're not doing anything, basically. We're going to keep our eyes on inflation. We're going to keep looking at it. But for the most part, we're not doing anything. And we're going to continue to prop up Wall Street. So treasuries rallied on that news. Wall Street doing the happy dance this morning. Totally fine with that. They don't have anything to worry about. They're super happy. And again, at what point do we pull back on this? Do we pull back and say enough now? Enough now on propping up big banks in Wall Street. $120 billion that you're spending per month so that they can remain liquid. And we're seeing banks this past week with record profits. JP Morgan, I mean, on and on the list went this week. Bank of America, Wells Fargo, everyone's doing great. So you're not and he said basically we're going to announce, we will provide ample notice. We're going to let you know well ahead of time, before we start tapering, when we start pulling back that money to Wall Street.
We didn't try to write down a particular set of numbers that would capture what we mean by that. And it would have been complicated and not particularly worthwhile. So we thought. So we said substantial further progress, which is similar to what we did during the recovery of the global financial crisis years ago. We had a similar kind of set of words for when we would taper asset purchases. So the thing is, it's very difficult to be precise about it because with maximum employment, there are no 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 metrics that you could point to. It really is a very broad range of things, including wages, unemployment, levels of employment, participation, all those things. So we just said substantial further progress. And we also said that we would provide advance notice, well in advance of actually tapering, so that understanding that this is somewhat of a discretionary test and that we don't want to surprise markets or the public. So we will provide lots of notice as we go forward on that. And by the way, we have another FOMC meeting in a couple of weeks from today, and we'll have another round of discussions on this very topic. We didn't try to write.
So there you go. So today, it's going to be back in front of the Senate Finance Committee today. Yesterday, we're in front of the House. So they're going to give us ample knowledge, ample warning when we actually are going to move into tapering and pulling back all of this money. So for now, we're fine. He said a bunch of other things yesterday too, did Powell. He talked about crypto. He talked about stable coins, that we need to have regulation there. He said that we're going to have some difficulty implementing this digital currency for the United States. He talked about housing prices. They are a concern, but there's little that he can do at the Fed. There's not much that they can do at all at the Federal Reserve on that issue. Homelessness was also addressed, talked quite a bit about that. And, it was asked about all of these, homes that are people being kicked out of their homes and tent cities popping up everywhere and home prices just skyrocketing. And he said, there's just little that we can do. I mean, we're the Fed. There's nothing we really can do about that. He also said, interestingly, and he got some pushback from Ann Wagner, Republican senator or Republican member of the House. And he said, look, inflation is just temporary. It's only here for a short amount of time. Don't worry about it. It's only in certain sectors like hospitality and others. And she pushed him back and said, with all due respect, Chair Powell, it's in housing. The prices of housing skyrocketing. It's in groceries. It's in everything. And he kind of, didn't agree and kind of pushed back on that idea and said, look, we're keeping our eye on it very closely on prices. But I would say it's not, he thinks it'll moderate by the end of the year. Like all of these increases in prices are going to moderate by the end of the year. What do you guys think?
Housing too, or
everything. I guess he says it's just temporary. He really made the point, drove home the point yesterday. Temporary. He said it a bunch of times.
Because there are places like the Hamptons, for one, where their housing prices have driven rents so high that people who work can't live there, and so they're running out. They're running out, like literally running out of people in town that can do the lower wage jobs.
Yeah, look at this story. Look at this headline today. Americans are leaving, moving to Europe to find affordable homes. Well, you can't find it in Canada. So they're moving to Europe where they can get land, they get a better quality of life, they get health care, they get no student loan debt for school, they have no violence, no drug crime. They're moving to Europe where they're taken care of because of home prices. With travel opening up, European Union, second home markets in countries like Italy, Portugal, Greece have seen a huge uptick. I was talking to somebody at the consuls, that works for the ambassador, saying, yeah, they're just seeing a ton of people coming in. A ton of people coming into Europe. All they need, they said they want to be near the water, they want to live in Venice, 3 or 4 bedrooms. People come to visit, they end up staying. They're getting this, incredible deals and saving a lot of money just by moving to Europe, like much more space. And by the way, I should point out the interest rates in Europe to get a home loan. Does anybody have any idea what the interest rates are to get a home loan in the European Union? If you don't know, I'll tell you, 0. And in fact, negative interest rates across Europe. 0. You can basically get a mortgage for nothing. And they'll give you 45-year mortgages or 40-year mortgages. So, does any wonder why just Americans are, okay. But it's getting bad. Yeah, Tina says 0. Yeah.
0. All right, everybody in chat, let's go.
Let's go. Yeah. Yeah. Cody says, we researched Estonia and Australia. Never thought I would ever consider such a thing. Yeah, Australia is very expensive. Estonia, though, I always make fun of Estonia because it's beautiful, but I make fun of it because, I make fun of the United States. The United States has worse internet access than Estonia. Estonia has better internet speeds than the United States of America. But you can't even find Estonia on a map, and they have better infrastructure than we do. Hey, Tammy is here. Good to see you. Wendy King says, I'm moving to Europe next year. Are you joking or are you serious? Yeah. Exactly. Nathaniel Gilchrist says, America is not the place to be anymore, if it ever has been. Yeah. So again, U.S. home prices surging. Americans are setting their sights on Europe. Not a surprise. Not a surprise. We're going to talk stimulus in a minute and where things stand on the big stimulus package and why we need additional stimulus. Although I did see Senator Pat Toomey of Pennsylvania on this morning. He was rattling on and on about how everyone's doing fine and we don't need this thing. We don't need any additional stimulus. And we certainly don't need what Democrats want, which is, making sure that we're energy independent and making sure that we're not relying on fossil fuels. We don't need to do that. Unbelievable. And I don't know if you saw this today, the European Union announcing that it wants to get rid of, end the combustion engine by the year 2035. So no more sales of cars that have a combustion engine that burn fossil fuels. In 2035. 2035. That's it. Unbelievable. So that's not, think about it. It's not that far away. And that's a transformative move. Like if you're any of these big car companies and you're thinking, and your plan is already moving towards electric vehicles anyway, good for you. But if you're not, this is just the push you needed. If you want to be able to sell cars in Europe in the future, sorry, no fossil fuels. So sometimes we just need Europe to kick America in the pants, get the move on for us. Because if these companies want to stay competitive in the world, they're going to have to move in this direction. Otherwise, they're going to be squeezed out by these governments. Pretty remarkable. Pretty remarkable. Hey, I want to tell you about our good friends over at Stamps.com. So if you are going to the post office these days, like, what is this, 1998? You don't need to go to the post office. You can go to Stamps.com. So easy to go to Stamps.com and actually save money on all of your postage. It's cheaper than going to the post office. And see right here on your screen, if you click that little microphone on the upper right-hand corner and you enter that promo code INVEST, right there, you type in the word INVEST, and you hit submit, guess what? You will get a special offer, a 4-week trial, plus free postage and a digital scale, free. No long-term commitments or contracts. See, welcome, Morning Invest listeners. Boom. Just use that code INVEST. So the summer, is really, really showing some welcoming signs of normal life again. Finally get back to enjoying life. Little pleasures like just going to see a movie, getting out there, and of course going to the post office. No, going to the post office. Who wants to wait in line at a hot post office? Mail and ship anytime with Stamps.com. Anywhere, right from your computer. You can send letters, ship packages, and pay less, a lot less, with discounted rates from the USPS and UPS. Stamps.com saves businesses thousands of hours and tons of money every year. We love Stamps.com. We send a lot of packages for the company, and so it's so much easier. We just print them out, print the labels out right at home, weigh it on our digital scale, and guess what? You can even schedule a pickup, so we don't have to go and drop it off. Super great. There's no risk. Use my promo code INVEST. You get a special offer that includes a 4-week trial, plus free postage and a digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts. Just go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage, and type in the word INVEST. That's Stamps.com, promo code INVEST. Never go to the post office again. Thanks, Stamps.com. All right, let's talk about the stimulus now and the updates on what the Democrats are hoping to achieve over the next few weeks. And a big thorn in the Democratic side, once again, of course, is Joe Manchin. So Senator Manchin coming out yesterday and blasting the stimulus package. Not surprising at all that he would come out and slamming it. He said that he's very, very disturbed about the reconciliation proposals, specifically as it relates to climate change. Now, if you're just new to what's going on with Washington this week, you'll know that on Tuesday, they announced a $3.5 trillion new infrastructure package that is aimed at sort of helping families and targeting poverty. A big piece of that, though, is climate change, making sure that moving towards solar energy, electric power grid, all of those things are part of this. He says he's incredibly disturbed by it. Bernie Sanders, though, is on the front of this and has been negotiating with President Biden on this in the Senate. So this has progressives very, very excited. But then when you have a moderate Democrat, might as well be calling him a Republican, like Joe Manchin, who is, of course, from West Virginia and tied to the coal industry, of course he's not happy about this. This is Manchin's reaction to hearing about the 3.5. And he must be pissed that he's not involved in the negotiation process.
What do you think of the Democrats' $3.5 trillion?
Well, we just heard about it. I heard about it this morning or late last night, my staff. So we're anxious to basically review it. They've worked hard on it. We want to see it. And also, I've been very clear that I want to see the pay-fors and make sure that whatever we do is going to be globally competitive.
Is 3.5 trillion too high? Is 3.5 trillion too high?
Depends if we can pay for it and still be globally competitive.
Well, you have said pretty clearly that $2 trillion was probably the max you can go. Are you even open to the idea of going to 3.5 trillion?
Well, I'm open to looking at everything they've provided. Okay, they're going to have to provide all the information that's going to be needed. They've worked hard. They should have a proposal. The president's going to come today and explain. We'll listen to that. We'll look at the proposal, look at the priorities they have for our country, and then basically look at how we're going to pay for it. And if we have to, with tax adjustments being made, is it going to be globally competitive?
Does it have to be completely paid for?
I think we should start paying for stuff.
Senator, would you
Everything, but is that a red line for you?
There's no red lines. And basically, the bottom line is common sense. The American people we have a debt of $28.5 trillion right now. Okay? We have indications of inflation that's spiking. There's a lot of things of concern. What's going to happen to the generation coming after us if we don't have some kind of controls or some basically brakes on some different things? So I'm just looking at everything in a holistic way. I know we have needs in our country, and we have.
He's looking at it in a holistic way. I like that. He's looking at it in a holistic way. He goes on to say, I know they have a climate portion in there, and I'm concerned about that. I'm concerned about the climate portion in there. I'm very, very disturbed because they're eliminating fossil fuels, and I'm finding out that there's a lot of language in places they're eliminating fossils. That's what he said. They're eliminating fossils, which is very, very disturbing.
Technically not wrong, but not
Right.
the fossils we're thinking of.
Exactly. It's not like we're taking like an old flounder fossil and that's what we're using. But okay. He said, I'm very, very disturbed by it because if you're sticking your head in the sand and saying that fossil fuel has to be eliminated in America and they want to get rid of it and thinking that it's going to clean up the global climate, it won't clean it up at all. If anything, it would be worse. It would be worse. It'd be worse, Joe says. So why is he saying all of that? Of course he's saying all of that because Senator Manchin, of course, maintains lucrative ties to the coal companies that pay him a lot of money. And his financial disclosures over the years, we've seen him again, even going back to 2011. He makes a lot of money from the coal companies. So of course he's not going to be in favor of reducing our dependence on these on all these pollutants. And moving towards a cleaner environment. Of course he's not. If you're being paid for them, paid by them.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
if
what you're concerned about.
You want to change his like amend his statement from how are we going to pay for it to how am I going to get paid if this goes away?
Yeah, like how am I going to make in 1 year getting $1.3 million? How many from my income from Enter Systems? $417,000. He routinely gets money raising right from these coal industry guys, right in his pocket. You think he has your interests at heart? Of course he doesn't. That's why he wouldn't raise the minimum wage in West Virginia, because he heard right from the coal lobby that said, "Don't do it." Oh, you mean these poor coal miners? Like they don't deserve to have a better wage? Allow them to unionize, be better taken care of? He said, my state's fine. They're fine. They don't even, maybe they would go to $11 an hour, but most of the West Virginians, they don't care. They don't need more money. I love West Virginia. I used to live there in southern West Virginia, in Bluefield. It's not wealthy. People there are hurting. But he's got his money coming in for those coal companies. Yeah. Unbelievable. Which brings me to this question. How many jobs do you need to have in the United States in order to make ends meet? Turns out you need quite a few jobs. In one particular story, you need four jobs in order to live in the state, to work in San Francisco. 4 jobs. I wish I was joking about this, but you need 4 jobs in order to live and work in San Francisco. Actually, it's not even 4, it's 4.9. 4.9 is what you need to live and work in San Francisco. So some of you said 3. You're close, but the correct answer is 4, 4.9. Is that amazing? And how can you do that? No wonder all of these big companies can't hire people because they can't afford to live where your office is. So I think we're seeing a transformative moment right now in work, working remotely or working or businesses trying to bring people back to an office. They can't afford to live there, like New York City, for instance. You're going to have to lower taxes. Just to work in New York City, you pay a New York City tax, even if you live in New Jersey. But if your office is in New York City, you pay that tax just because you work in New York City. So they tax you to work.
4.9 jobs. Like I didn't feel lazy when I woke up this morning, but now I realize I'm not doing enough. I still have like what 2.9 jobs to get today.
Yeah, you're being lazy, man. Get out there.
Sorry.
More jobs.
I guess I'm just looking for government handouts.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, George W. Bush clapping for that woman who said, I work 3 full-time jobs. And that's a uniquely American thing. Way to go. A minimum wage, if you're on, and this is particularly a minimum wage, right? So like Joe Manchin, who didn't want to raise the minimum wage, on minimum wage, need to work 4.9 jobs just to make their rent, just to make ends meet in San Francisco. And you want to understand, like, so you have all these businesses that say, we can't find workers. Well, okay. Well, what if you paid more, number one? Then the people could actually afford to live in the city where your job is. You know, if you're like if you run like a small bodega or something like that in San Francisco, forget about it. Like, how are you going to hire someone? How are you going to do that? If the wages, I mean, you got to pay them more. If the rent is so astronomical, it's just out of whack. Something needs to change.
But the interesting thing about that is, like, with that 4.9 jobs at minimum wage, in order to live in the city, like to have workers there working that job, that would mean an employer would have to pay them 4.9 times more than minimum wage for them to survive. Like, it's really like an issue with housing prices.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's an issue with housing, and it absolutely is the issue. Runaway housing prices, so forcing people to move to Europe, and companies are, continue to screw over their employees. They're like, if you leave it up to companies, most companies will not raise wages. They just won't. They won't do it. But it's okay for us to continue to subsidize all of these Wall Street companies and big businesses. But when it comes to helping workers actually earn a living wage, we don't do it. And Joe Manchin, he's happy to take millions of dollars in money from coal companies in order to keep the people of West Virginia poor. It's disgusting. And you don't see anybody talking about this. We get a little question yesterday on home prices during the thing, and Fed Chief Jerome Powell's like, hey, we can't really do anything about it, We can't really do much about it. We're the Fed. We can't really do much about housing prices. That's not really our thing. That's what Congress has to figure something out. Okay, well, if interest rates are like at 1% or 2% in the United States, I mean, today they were at 2.6%. I think in the newsletter we covered that, 2.67% for a 30-year fixed mortgage. It's essentially free money right now. But, so these interest rates are incredibly low, but the prices have skyrocketed and people can't afford them. I mean, it's just a really troubling situation. And that's why the US dollar is just, the US dollar continues to lose money, continues to lose value day after day after day. And the value of a dollar continues to just go not anywhere nearly as far as it used to. Incredibly troubling. Many of you asked about an update. We spoke to our friends over at Gold Mountain Resources, a company that is a gold producer doing some incredible work in Canada. And so I had a chance to catch up. You were asking about updates, and there's some big news coming from this company, Gold Mountain. So I had a chance to sit down and talk with them about what's happening right now in the broader economy, what's happening with inflation, how is gold stacking up as a standard that we can all get behind, and what does this look like for their company? My next guest is the CEO and director of Gold Mountain, and he knows quite a thing or two about current gold prices, what we're seeing by way of inflation, all of this talk on Wall Street and in Washington right now. Of course, what's happening with this infrastructure package. Could it be north of $6 trillion? If it is, how are we going to pay for it all? And what happens to the U.S. dollar if that is the case? Joining me now is the CEO and director of Gold Mountain, Kevin Smith. Kevin, great to have you here on the show. Welcome, my friend.
Thank you so much for having me here today.
Good to be here with you. So let's talk about it. For those of our viewers that don't understand what Gold Mountain is, could you give our audience a little synopsis of Gold Mountain, what it looks like, and the history behind your company?
Yeah, so Gold Mountain is a fairly recent new issuer, and it's an exciting opportunity that's a little bit different from what most people in gold mining are going to be used to. This is a past producer that we were able to pick up at a really steep discount. There's about $50 to $60 million in historic spends on the property. We bought it for $1 million down from Equinox Gold Corp. And then we had a $9 million promissory note, of which we've made our first $3 million payment. There was 127,000 meters of historic drilling on the property, and it's produced twice historically at an average of 97 grams a ton, which is extremely rich. So we're excited to get it back into production. We bought it in May of 2019. We've been working really hard to get our permit, which we're expecting in the next month or so. And then once back into production, we're going to be using the cash flow to continually aggressively drill the project as well as expand the production profile. So, non-dilutive fashion of expansion is really the story here. We've kept the cap table extremely tight and held in strong hands. And as we march this thing into production, we think we have a pretty exciting next 6 months in front of us.
So from the layperson's perspective, what actually unfolds over those next 6 months from production and actually, and from an investor perspective, someone sitting there saying, hey, maybe I want to invest in Gold Mountain. What does that look like for that long-term investor?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've already received our construction permit, which is a huge vote of confidence from the province. So site's already under construction right now. Part of that construction permit is something called a gravel borrow, which essentially lets us get into waste rock mining immediately. So we're stripping all of the granite that doesn't have any gold in it so that we can get down to the vein. We anticipate being down to the vein in late August, early September. We then have it sit on our ore stockpile, and a third party does an assay and sampling program. Come October, we start delivering it to New Gold, who is our ore processing partner. They get 10% of the gold and silver that we produce, and we keep the remaining 90%. The reason that's super important is it gives us a really lean CapEx when we go into production. We don't have to build a mill. We don't have to have tailing storage on site, which causes a whole bunch of environmental review and delays. So this lets us get right into production, and we expect cash flow by November. Once we're in cash flow, the turnover is excellent. We have a 17-day payable. And we're going to use that cash flow to really aggressively drill out this property. And we intend to have this up over 1 million ounces by fall. And we feel there's probably at least two or three more pockets on the property that have these high grade veins of gold and silver in them. And we're looking at trying to grow this up to a multi-million ounce deposit that's in production at a minimum of 65,000 ounces a year within the next couple of years here.
Nice. Now, we've noticed just through our research some extremely large insider purchases in the last few weeks with the company. Can you comment on why you guys are buying up so many shares of the company?
Yeah, we just recently did a financing, and the stock price, when you do a financing, usually takes a bit of a hit. We're extremely confident in what we're doing, and we're leading by example and putting our money where our mouth is. None of management is taking a salary. We're all equity remunerated until we get into cash flow. And I think that really speaks to our confidence in the project, and not only that, but our ability to execute. So again, we're trying to do a little bit different story than your typical Vancouver mining company where, it changes faces every couple of years and, there's big splashy salaries. This isn't a lifestyle company. We want to build a larger gold producer here, and the Elk project, which we're getting off the ground right now, is going to be the foundation to do just that.
Awesome. Well, congrats on that, guys, and congrats on the success of what you guys are about to do, which is really great. And I've been super bullish, of course. My audience knows I've been super bullish on commodities. Let's talk about commodities now. They seem like they've been waiting to break out, and you're starting to see lumber, copper prices break out. When do you think gold is going to start to gain some momentum? We look at gold prices. They've been hovering around that 1,700, 1,800, back to 1,700, 1,800. Hasn't hit that 2,000 yet. I'm waiting for it. So what do you think is going to be the biggest catalyst that we need for a breakout on gold, silver, copper, et cetera?
Yeah, I think we're coming off of the baseline economic numbers from COVID, which obviously have made 2021 look really strong. I think reality is going to start setting in here, mid to late summer. And I think in fall, you're going to see it going back up again. I mean, when we bought this project, gold was at $1,250 and the economics still made a lot of sense. So even at the prices it is today, we're still extremely bullish on the project. But obviously, the higher gold and silver go, the better. With Basel III being implemented, I think that's going to help, keep some of the banks on side. But it sounds like, the bank cartel found a carve out for the London banks, at least. So hoping to see something on that side to keep them honest, because the real problem here is all the manipulation in the paper gold market, in my opinion. And like to see that come to an end, and so we can get some actual real price discovery. But yeah, we're extremely bullish on gold price. I mean, a potential $6 trillion infrastructure budget. I think we've bought the most bonds and printed the most money as we have in the last quarter. These talks of tapering, I don't know if there's a lot of weight behind them. I just don't see how they can taper or raise rates. I think, cheap, loose monetary policy is going to be here for a while. And if history is any indicator, I think gold's going to perform really well in this really inflationary environment. Looking forward to seeing the numbers coming out this week on inflation. And really, I think this is a positive environment for the precious metal space. And being in junior miners is a great way to leverage that opportunity.
Do you think, you mentioned inflation, we're going to see those numbers this week, and it'll really, I think, set the pace for the rest of the year. What are your thoughts on the gold industry as a whole? I mean, we're printing money like crazy, $30 trillion now in debt. Is this the smart, safe play for people, long-term store of value, preservation of wealth? Do you think the world is going to really turn back to gold in a big, big way?
I mean, we always turn back to gold when fiat currencies fail. And I don't know how long it's going to take, but I don't think any economy in the history of time has ever recovered from these levels of debt that we're now under right now, right? And not just the US, but kind of all Western countries and central banks have taken on this loose monetary policy. And you got to go back in the history books, but you don't necessarily have to go back too far to see that this never plays out well. Gold and silver companies are printing more money than they ever have that are producing. And this is an awesome environment for them. And for whatever reason, the market, likes these highly overvalued tech companies right now. And, bubbles always burst and crash has always recovered. And I don't even really think it's been much of a crash, or, we just haven't caught up to the same pace as these other sectors of the market. But I really think gold and silver producers, it's going to be their time to shine. And, when you can bolt on a lot of exploration blue sky on a project as well, we feel there's a lot of excited things to be excited about this space and our company especially. So, yeah, I don't know how it can play out any differently than it always has. I mean, there's a reason central banks hold gold. And, there's a reason that we're so bullish on gold and silver as well.
Well, Kevin, what's the next 10 years look like for Gold Mountain? If you want to give us a roadmap that far out, but obviously you got a pretty exciting 6 months. Where do you guys see the company in 10 years, 5-10 years from now?
Yeah, the Elk project is an awesome opportunity for a young company to build a foundation off of, but we really want to be a larger scale producer and continue going out and acquiring these projects where someone spent a lot of money exploring and developing them and potentially didn't have the right operations team behind them. We have a really strong operations team. Our president and our COO are both mining engineers who have permitted, built, and run mines here in British Columbia and all over the world. So we want to continue to acquire projects like this that are kind of overlooked and bring our operations experience and our ability to build companies out in a lean fashion and continue growing how many ounces we produce a year and become a going concern here in British Columbia. It's a really safe jurisdiction that we operate in, very predictable government and regulation environment. And, this is home for us. We're 3.5 hours away from the project. So we're able to go up there multiple times a week and check in and make sure things are going well. So I would see a continued push once the elk is in production to go out and find similar assets and keep growing a larger company.
Well, congratulations on the success so far, and congrats on how this year looks like it's going to be unfolding for you guys over at Gold Mountain. I appreciate you joining us, Kevin. We'd love to have you come back on from time to time, people talk gold prices, talk about production, see what the market's looking like. I hope you'll be open to that.
All right. Thank you so much for the time.
You bet. Thanks so much, Kevin. Really appreciate it. So thanks, Kevin. I appreciate that. And really good, really interesting information. Do you hear what he said there too about, what he said there? There's the stock symbol, by the way. It's an OTC, GMTNF. You hear what he said there about the 30 year? He said 30 trillion. It's like no country in history has ever come back from that. That's really, really terrifying to think about when you have a fiat currency like that that's teetering on the bottom. Really, really bad. So we have the market open right now as stocks continue to fall. Right now, it's interesting that they're falling right now. They popped yesterday after Jay Powell went to the Hill. He's going back up to the Senate today. He'll be answering questions. But right now at the open, the Dow down about almost 100 points. NASDAQ down about 27. Looks like a kind of a down across the board right now. GameStop also plummeting down about 3% already today. Again, some of these meme stocks we see before that we were talking about. So let's check in now on the markets and what I'm looking at. DTSS was on my list today. So let's take a look at DTSS. And pumped a little bit at the open, but it's just kind of grinding around here on DTSS. But this was on my list. I'll put up my list again today. Here's the stocks at the open that I'm looking at. So we have Zila, HUDI, CDIM, ARLO, and DTSS. So right now, guys, looks like DTS is pretty much the play, but might be toast already. Let's see. Well, SGOC also running. Well, this was a play yesterday. Let's see if SGOC. A lot of lower volume today than we had yesterday. Did we lose the music? Did I do something stupid here?
No, yeah, I'll put it back up. Sorry,
Okay.
I dropped it for the interview.
Cool. Put up here. We can turn on. I don't know if you were able to already do that to subscriber.
I will do that now. I'm setting it to subscriber chat.
Wolf Clan says, Hootie, nope, unless you want to go short. Yeah, no, I don't. But I might. See on SGOC. It depends on, like, trying to size here on SGOC. Maybe shorting SGOC as well. DTSS on my list. See DTSS for pops here.
Did you see the super chat from King Vortex Gaming?
Oh, no, I missed that.
Pop that up. I don't know who this person is, but the Matt Kors.
Oh, Matt Kors on YouTube. He's willing to come on your show to speak about. Sure, I'd love to have him come on. I know he's big on AMC.
Oh, gotcha. I'm not familiar with the name, so
I think he's like that's his cup of tea. That's just what he focuses on, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, gotcha.
But I don't know, to be honest.
My YouTube experience is much different than most people's because all I watch is people craft things.
Can you put up that stock ticker again? Michael's asking about what was the ticker for that interview you just had on? Caught it with an OTC. And yeah, they've got some news coming too, by the way. They just had some news on this mine breakthrough. Why is Apple plummeting this morning? Let's see AMC, what's happening here.
I'd meant to put that stock ticker up during the interview, and I was like like weirded out by the chat not working on the sidebar thing that I got distracted. Then towards the end of it, I was like, oh yeah, I should probably be doing my job today. See, I can't handle one job. How am I going to have 4.9?
Yeah, how can you have 4 jobs? So there was a wall here on AMC at 35.5. Short play here on AMC. AMC short at 35. Like I said, there's a wall at 35.5. So SGOC right now indicating 15.45 on resumption. 15.45 on resumption. See if we get a nice little, nice little move here. AMC looking for a death drop. Boom. Let's see here. Bank on AMC on a nice short drop here. Boom. Continues to fall. Continues to fall. This is a classic short play here because, look, you've got a nice big wall right at 35.5. So huge play. I mean, it's like a no-brainer. Huge.
I love some of these scam bots. There's one on Facebook. Sorry, just this one kind of cracked me up. So they could say their day will be full of fun because they sent 0.3 Bitcoin to the address above and received 0.9 Bitcoin back immediately. Like, who wouldn't want that?
Yeah, Agnes.
Don't ever fall for
Agnes
this.
Timzing. Yeah, don't ever fall for that kind of crap, guys.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some place I can send 0.3 Bitcoin and they're like, here you go. That'd be what? Like sending me, well, let's see, it would be, what's Bitcoin at, 22? Or 30, it's over 30, isn't it?
30. Well, Bitcoin really crapped the bed. Again, down at 31 now. Ethereum at 1900. Look at, you want to laugh at something here? Laugh at Dogecoin down at 18 cents.
Oh my
now.
gosh. I got so close to that dollar.
Dogecoin, gold and silver. Look at a nice pop on gold and silver. Grover.
He looks like he's about 4.9 jobs shy.
Yeah. Yeah. Where are the Reddit guys? No, I love it. So you want to hear about AMC apes? This is the thing. It's like, great. We can hear about these like AMC apes. Show them to me. I mean, like what? Okay. And how long do you hold something before you? I mean, you put your family's future in something like this?
Well, the popular theory was forever that they would just hold it indefinitely until basically some of these hedge funds went under. So it was a short squeeze is what was going on.
Let's see if a nice dump here on AMC. Short on this next wash here, and I take some off of that. Just to log into my other scanner here. DTSS could be due. DTSS is ripe for a bounce here. Get ready for a bounce on DTSS. Ooh, whoa. Oh, man. Whoa, DTSS. Get ready for a wick. That was a wick down. Holy smokes.
That looked like some guy in a room somewhere going, sell, sell, sell.
Yeah. It's like right off a cliff. Wow. Look at that. DTSS. See, well, not even. Ooh, look at this. Low of day, pre-market low, way down here. So, I've seen a bunch of these huge wicks today. Something happened overnight. Right around that time this morning, something happened. There's a lot of big wick downs. I don't know what happened. Kind of trying to figure out what it wants to do here on DTSS. Let's look for SGOC on a death drop. Look at this. Here's SGOC coming up on a death drop. Look at this. Might even get halted here. Probably get halted.
So DJ Culprit was wondering, and I'm curious about this too. What goes into the pre-market figures? Is it just like, is that brokers trading, or what's going on to that?
I mean, you can't do any market orders, obviously, during pre-market. It's just limit orders. And so a lot of low volume in pre-market. But I want to see, pre-market is a good indicator where things could go during the day, but it's not always. I want to see what's moving pre-market before the market opens. And that always changes too. Like right as soon as the market opens, you're going to see different, like my list sometimes goes right out the window. Like I have my best laid plans of what I'm looking at. And so, you're looking at volume. You want to see what has the most volume pre-market, right? Normally it's going to be much lower it's going to always be much lower than when the market is open. But you want to see what has the most movement. What catalysts happened overnight? What sort of big news stories kind of happened that would make a stock to pop? So, that's what I want to look at. Pre-market change. That's what I want to see. Low volume on some of this stuff, though. AMC. Chopping around here on AMC. Volume. There's some good action right now. It's not so bad. Let's see. I was also keeping my eyes on Oatly. Oatly, though, volume. Everyone's talking about this company. Have you bought any Oatly? Do you know what it is, the Oatly oat milk?
Me, no, I haven't.
Yeah. It's really good.
Is it?
Because with almond milk, you really get it's really bad for the environment. The amount of water that's used for that is very difficult. And then, of course, if you're lactose intolerant, you can't have regular milk. And Oatly apparently... I don't know. We have some. They went public a few weeks ago, and my wife and sister-in-law were at the store, and they saw Oatly had in the refrigerated section. They had these drinks, like an Oatly latte, basically, like coffee and oat milk, and it's real creamy because you get that creaminess from it, and it's just really delicious. So there was a lot of talk about Oatly overnight, but there's no volume on it. So some of the big news that we had on Oatly over the night hasn't really translated to any good play. I did have it on my short list here, but I'm going to take it off. Not enough going on here. Not enough volume for that. Frederick Lasorte. What do I think about Crow? CRO. You know what? To be honest with you, I haven't been following that one, and I have to say, I know that, yes, it is an actual company. I just think right now where my head is at, and again, I'm not a financial advisor and I can't tell you what to do with your money. So, take this with a grain of salt. But personally, I'm investing in companies that are like some of the bigger cap, top of the list right now in crypto, that sit at the top 10 list, because right now I'm waiting to see what Bitcoin does here over the weekend. I think Bitcoin, we're going to see into the 20s this weekend. AHPI. Let's see about AHPI. See, that's the thing, man. We're getting a couple of these. I had this on my short list yesterday. Let's see what the volume is. volume, it's not really strong on AHPI. That's why when I checked volume at the open, look at this volume. It's been building up a little bit here, but it's overall, it's fairly weak volume on AHPI. And, you know, my rule is 200,000. I don't want to be in something with less than 200,000. You just don't get the move, you know. Oh, I'm sorry, crypto.com. Yeah. I misread that wrong. Crypto.com. Yeah. Yeah, I you know, again, I'm just waiting on the sidelines right now. I want to see what Bitcoin does. And look, you're also facing some of these big exchanges with some regulation issues that could drive down value with Binance. You know, waiting on some of these larger exchanges, like what are they going to do with regulation? And we know that it's coming. Fed Chief Jerome Powell yesterday talking about that. Arbonne, Polkadex. I'm still bullish on Polkadex because we haven't even launched yet. We haven't even launched their mainnet. So, you know, waiting on that for August. So big news for August. Kind of getting repumps on a lot of these right now. Just no really low volume. Low volume. Let's see what's got moving here. DTSS. What a bleed out on this. Holy. Not even popped up. Like, I thought we'd get a bounce here on DTSS. Nothing. Not even a pop. Just bleeding. And the volume. Look at that volume, guys. Volume is still pretty strong. Just bleeding out. It's like the patient is on the gurney just bleeding out. AMC, waiting for that big death drop on AMC again. The only thing is, like, if it goes up to like 38 and does something stupid, then that could be a different kind of play here. Take more action on that. But let's see, Carve. Again, a lot of these repumps on some of these stocks. Let's take a look at Carve. That's on a... Carve is on a halt. 22 is the indication on a restart here on Carve. Jimbo Duke, thank you for your super chat. Sheets, can I buy gold and silver? I'm not sure what sheets means, but can you buy gold and silver? Yeah, you can buy gold and silver. Like, I buy gold and silver. Go to morninginvest.com/gold. We work with the team over at Birch Gold. They have a free gold kit that you can get in on. Danger Zone says, I'm at work with only 2 monitors at home. I can better watch this stuff. 22 pop on Carve. Look at this smart short play on Carve out of that. Dump right at that resumption. You know, you're looking at overhead resistance. HUD almost has no volume. Semperfi, yeah. Oh, Elizabeth, that's great. Jimbo, yeah, do your due diligence. You know, I never like to sit, like, you know, based on the financials that I look at, that's my determination. But do your own due diligence. You know, jump in to see what their news is, see what their financials look like, see what their cash position is, like I did. Look at their market cap. Look at what upcoming catalysts they have. I mean, we saw the stock pump nice this week, and of course they had big news yesterday as well.
So, yeah, all right. I need to head out for a bit, and I need
All right,
coffee.
brother.
I haven't had coffee yet this morning. That earlier start, and started my day with my daughter was still awake from last night. She had been up
Oh
for
my
like
gosh.
3 hours waiting for me to get up because there was a spider in her room. So
I saw a video yesterday of a guy. It was an Australia video, and the guy was like, "This is why I'll never go to Australia." And the guy is landing a plane, coming in for a landing on a dirt runway in Australia, and he looks up on the ceiling of the small prop plane, and there's a giant tarantula above his head on the ceiling as he's trying to land the plane.
I saw
Can you
that too.
imagine?
That was right there where he's got to be, and he can't be anywhere else. And there's that spider. Yep. So
yeah. Oh my God.
It's been a busy morning, but if I don't get coffee, I'm not gonna make it.
Go for it, man.
Yeah.
Thanks,
all
Philip.
right.
Thanks for a great show. Great talking with you.
Yeah. We'll see you
We'll
around.
be doing here. We'll be here making some money. You want to come back and join us? See you, buddy.
Sounds good. Yeah. Bye.
You hear the Netflix news, guys. Netflix about to roll out gaming. They're hiring a bunch of people right now for gaming. So imagine Netflix with streaming games. That's the future, and it's going to be a game changer. I imagine. I just don't know. I mean, you go to Netflix to watch TV shows and movies and documentaries. Will you go to Netflix? And I don't see why not. You go to Netflix, be able to click on and start playing different games. Be really interesting to see. Right now on Capitol Hill, Fed Chair Jerome Powell testifying before the Senate Banking Committee today. Twitch can't be dethroned, says Carstan. Yeah, anytime, first of all, never say never. Curtis says to check out Fear Token. Well, I mean, clearly they would just sell like a Bluetooth controller, They would sell, Manuel says it's going to fail miserably. Just curious. Why would you say it's going to? I'm just curious why you, why would you say that? Oh, Yvonne, Bev Canna, BEVCANNA. Carve, an awesome short play right there. Unbelievable play on Carve. Still waiting on this AMC death drop. Stadia failed. Netflix will too, Ivan says. Netflix is going to fail unless it's like some touchpad games that are super simple that no one wants to play. Yeah, that's the thing. Is it going to try to compete with like an Apple Arcade and like a casual gaming space? It's a good question. No, Tyler, I'm out. Yeah. Danger Zone says they're in their infancy. Someday gaming streaming will be a thing. I think so. I mean, it depends on, depends on bandwidth speed, of course. You have to have locates with your broker, basically. You have to, find out, Brenton, that's how you do it. Tommy Toe says, how high do you think Carve will reach by Friday at 4 p.m., y'all? I have no idea. Hey, Jimbo, thank you so much. Says you're one of the real people trying to help normal people. I want to say thank you for all of your knowledge. Thank you. Thank you, Jimbo, for the super chat. Very kind of you. I sold it this morning. Steve. Small loss. Yeah, I mean, it could be, it's interesting to think of Netflix with adding gaming, streaming gaming as a value add, right? And that's really what we're looking at for these services right now. It's like, how many movies can you buy up? How many studios can you buy up? How many TV shows can you buy up? Here's AMC is going. Here's going to be, could be probably a short trap here. It's probably a short trap. Be careful. 37 was that high in the afternoon, and then it bounced. And it dropped down to 31 in the afternoon, so Steve, I mean, look, it's going to go, I think on OSAT, it's going to, it'll, I just got impatient with it, but, I could have easily waited till it went profitable, and it will, I'm sure. So, but it might take a few more days. Do I think Oatly milk will take off like the dude that invented the Kind Bar? I think so. I'm just seeing so much excitement about it. Like when you have, here's the thing, when I have like people, like when I hear people talking about it, like casual lay people that are like, man, have you tried this Oatly? Like oat milk? It's off the charts. And then these oat lattes that they make, where it's oats, and oat milk, creamy oat milk and coffee, and you can get it in the refrigerated section. Like I don't own any Oatly stock, but I'm telling you, when you have like my sister-in-law, you just have like random people talking about this and they're excited about it, who are lactose intolerant, etc. Get really excited about that kind of stuff. And you just see like internationally, the distribution of it throughout Europe, like they've got international distribution. That might be a really smart long-term hold position. When I say long-term, I mean like, 6 months, a year kind of a hold. And I really like what the company's doing too, ethically. Hey, Brent Fordham, great to see you. Just subscribed the other day to your channel. Great info and community. Yeah, we've got an awesome community here. That's what I love. I love getting up and doing this show every morning with everyone here because we've got such a great group of people. We don't tolerate like trolls here and that kind of stuff. Everyone's really positive and nice. And they say nice things about my little puppy, Grover, who's really the star of the show. My 1-year-old. Although today he got out and my brother-in-law was walking him along the beach and they had to call. They're like, we can't get him. He ran away. I'm like, what? Nearly had a heart attack. I had to go help get him wrestled up. Back asleep on my couch. So guys, if you just joined us, these are the stocks I'm looking at today. These are early pre-market was what I was looking at. Zila, HUDI has no volume right now. CDIM also. Arlo and DTSS really is the only survivor on my list. Yesterday we had 2 survivors on the list, but DTSS is really the only one that's still I'm watching, but it's just bleeding out right now. DTS is just Carve hitting $19. Here we go on AMC. Let me go back to AMC. Here we go. Let's see what happens here. Let's wait for this death drop. Is this death drop coming? Raymond, what's the best site or brokerage to buy crypto? It really depends on what you want to do. I mean, I if you want like some of the bigger plays, you can go to some of the main crypto communities like Coinbase, but I prefer Binance and Bybit. We have links here in the description where you can get. If you go to morninginvest.com/coin, you'll get like I think it's four. They still upped it up to $2,000 in free crypto when you sign up at your different deposit levels. Yeah, I use Binance. I use Bybit. I have KuCoin. I use a lot of different ones. So Jerome Powell just moments ago saying he doesn't know where the labor participation rate will settle down. So they're keeping their eye on the labor participation rate. So be careful with AMC, guys. Don't FOMO here. Wait for don't FOMO into this for a short. AMC tends to do crazy stuff, so just be careful. And I think, we're waiting for it to maybe hit 37, 38 before a big death drop. Darren, I do, but I also have others as well that I use, like E-Trade and so forth. But I'm getting a whole new setup here with my Windows PC. I use a Mac, but honestly, DOS Trader is the fastest. It lets you execute really quickly. So DOS Trader is on Windows. Unfortunately, I use a Mac. I hate Windows with a passion. So there's just not as good trading software on the Mac. You can use Thinkorswim, which is TD Ameritrade's platform. That's really good. Casper, why do I think there's going to be a death drop on AMC? Because there's a lot of overhead resistance. That's why. A lot of bag holders. And so when you have a lot of people holding above this level, why would you want to take a long position? What you have here is a lot of people holding, hoping that this is going to go up. But it's, it hit 37 yesterday, dumped all the way down to 31 yesterday. So it's going to make a move. It could go to 37, 38, and then death drop. But I going in on a small position, and just be careful on AMC. Brandon, oh yeah, I remember that comment from George W. Bush. I know you're working hard to put food on your family. Oh, I miss George W. Bush sometimes. Here's a knucklehead. George W. Bush weighs in yesterday on why he thinks getting out of Afghanistan is a huge mistake. After 20 years. 20 years war. Our longest war in American history. And what do we have to show for it? Nothing. The only reason you still want us in Afghanistan is so you can line the pockets of defense contractors. That's it. So he says it's a big mistake to leave because he's worried about the women and children of Afghanistan. Oh, really? You're really worried about the women and children of Afghanistan. That's really what you're worried about. Sure. So you don't mind indiscriminately bombing women and children on a regular basis while you were president with drone strikes. Come on, give me a break. No, I'm not a financial advisor. Financial advisors are crooks. I just tell you what I do. Thank you, Scott. Yeah, financial advisors tell you what to invest in, and then they themselves don't invest in it, and then they make money off of your money, managing your money. And they won't tell you to invest in real estate because they don't make any money in it. So they are advised by their bosses on what to push for their clients. They don't invest in them themselves. They're all crooks. Like, how do you become a financial advisor? You have to be, registered financial advisor. I had a great interview with a financial advisor a number of years ago, and we had a very frank conversation. Like, what the heck? Why don't financial advisors ever tell their clients about real estate investing? And he's like, well, number one reason is they don't make any money off of it. Proud to not be a financial advisor is what I should put. Yeah. Yeah, they tell you to invest in mutual funds. That's about as stupid as Dave Ramsey. Not all are bad, Nicole. No, not all of them are bad. But most of them are. All right, AMC, you're going to do something here. I'm going to take a quick potty break. Fill up my coffee here. Chairman Powell says they're undecided right now on the need for a central bank digital currency. They're undecided. What will push that decision? They're undecided. Thanks, Brent. Let's take a look at Wish. Let me see what the pop is on Wish. Volume looks like here. Big pop. Get ready for a death. Where? Let's see where we are. Let's look at the daily. Basically, hey, Joseph, thanks for the question. So I'll tell you, a number of years ago, we worked with a partner in our Indianapolis market in real estate. This is back in like 2016. And this individual defrauded my company and two other large companies that were actually in Indiana on contracting work that he didn't do and property management that he didn't do. Once we uncovered what he did, and I believed in him. I trusted the guy, and I actually owned and bought a lot of properties from him. So did my family. Once we found out what he had done, we reported him to the government, and he was he was arrested. Actually, his business shut down, and unfortunately, because we recommended him, we had lawsuits to deal with. That's just that's just par for having to. People can put a lawsuit out there for anything they want. Now, does it actually hold up? No. And so then they get dismissed. But yeah, it was a super crappy time in my life. Awful. But this guy was a total rat. He had his employees lying to people. I mean, this guy was awful. And yeah, and this guy's awaiting trial actually for what he did. So you have that in every profession. You know, it just happens. The thing is, though, you know, I got some great advice from Robert Kiyosaki, who said, you know, he said, you never, ever, ever want to work with a company that doesn't have battle scars, that hasn't been through it. And that's my take. Like when I work with companies, I want to know that they've been around, like they've gone through 2008 financial crisis, and they're still here. They have the scars to show it, that they learn and grow in their business. And of course, the things that we put in place to make sure that we don't ever have that happen to us again, it was long and deep. Let me say that. Yeah, there's a lot in that area, Curtis. You're right. The good news is now that the only thing we don't do any. Before, we would allow people to buy into a property ahead of time while the construction was being completed. Now we don't. Now it's all new construction built from the ground up. And so not even in the same realm. It's not even in the same territory. Like we just went the opposite way and said, how can we make sure that our customer service is like the best in the business? Go the opposite direction. Just make sure that and so now it's all new construction with a tenant in place. And we got, you know, we learned our lesson from this guy. It's a smart move, you know. Sorry, they had to deal with it, but yeah. Now we have fantastic in-house contractors on our team. They're awesome. Yvonne says, Clayton, maybe you should get a bottle to pee in. No. Let's see here, AMC, just kind of churning around, waiting for this big death drop. Probably still hunting, you know. So SGOC still churning around the bottom feeding here. But volume is really low on SGOC. So AMC is the play, guys, right now. So I don't know how, so I saw someone say they're down 400 on AMC and they shorted it. I don't know how you did that. How are you down? Look at all these. You had, like, here we go on 37. Like, here, we're about to hit a death drop right now. Loading up. Like, filling at 37 right now. Filling here. I would love to fill up at 38 on a short. Let this drop. Yeah, this is an absolute short position play on AMC, in my opinion. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. These are the things that I'm looking at and doing in my trades. Waiting for this to hit 38 and then death drop. Well, someone just asked for an example of taking a short position. Well, look, when you see this huge pump on AMC at the open, okay, and then it's reaching a wall, okay, of bag holders at 35.5, okay, it's reaching a wall at 35.5. You know that's going to bounce. Like, this is a perfect example of when this thing is going to bounce right here, down, and it did. You could have made a boatload of money right here on this short. Boom. From here to here. Boom. Right? And still held some shares and wait for it to even drop from here to here, or even pick back up. Covered some more here. Take more. Short here. Boom. Now is this rising up? So taking short positions here. Taking short positions here. Of course, the risk with shorting, right, is that it just goes parabolic, right? That's how shorts get killed, right? That's how shorts get squeezed. But really, the thing is the long-term buyers of AMC have just been not showing up. So where are these apes, right? And so when you see these pops, get ready for a death drop like we saw yesterday afternoon, 31. So okay, 37, another time to like load up on short position, 37, down here at 36. So if you got an average at like 36, 5. Danger Zone says, I hope it goes parabolic, still holding since $9.89. Way to go. But you're a holder, right? See, I'm a day trader. I don't know. But you could bank some nice profits right now on that, man. But it's going to drop, so. Space is dumping, which is a good sign that AMC is going to start dumping. I don't, Brenton. No, I don't. Actually, that's not true. I do have, I have to look at what I have. I actually don't even know. Let me see what I, yeah, I'd have to look. I don't even know my portfolio, what I have for some of those dividend ones. I have to check. But my passive income comes from real estate. Yeah, Danger Zone. I mean, you could really make some good money banking that, See, AMC could have tapped out multiple areas. So there's multiple areas where you have a lot of volume. So you're going to see grinding here. There's multiple layers of support and resistance, that are so close to each other, 36, 37, 38, 39. I mean, why would you want to go all in on 37, 100%, like on a short, like if you have 100% bullets in your gun, don't, my opinion, don't go all 100 right here. Maybe you go 50%, another 25% here, and then what's the real top? Because the real top is probably going to be in this neck of the woods up here, right? Maybe it's 39. Maybe it's 39. AMC could go to 40, 39, etc. Look for like a 35 wash. See what happens here. If the next bounce is weak, then that'll probably be the high here. And so this might be the high right now around this 37 range. That might be it before we get this death drop. Good. Darius says, lost my shirt trading the top yet. Chasing the top. Chasing the top is always a recipe for getting slaughtered, Darius. I'm glad you learned that on paper and you didn't do that with real money. Elena, I don't know. Some news, maybe? Who knows? Or bag holders selling. People probably made profits and sold. I don't know. Well, Doug, I mean, they've got a bunch of catalysts upcoming with news, so that's where we could see a nice takeoff. Also looking at shipping companies right now, the absolute demand for warehouse and shipping is just going to explode in the next 5 years. I mean, it already is seeing an incredible growth, and it's only going to get bigger. So that sector is something I'm looking at pretty closely as well. Chris, I recommend beginners go to morninginvest.com/Weeble, download Weeble, because the reason I'm telling you that is because Weeble has a paper trading section where you can practice. It's got a simulator, and you can see trades that we're making here on the show, people that are taking different trades. You can see and just start to learn, and you use a fake account basically. So use the paper trading account. They give you like $1 million to play with. Start tracking, and you can keep a journal. So in that, you have a journal right there as well. You can keep notes inside of the paper trade section of Weeble. Play in the simulator. And I'd say, about after 2 months of really studying these markets, understanding these patterns, and reading, I would also read the book, Technical Analysis for Dummies is a great book to read. Day Trading for a Living by Andrew Aziz is another great book. I would read those 2 books and just watch our show every day and trade along with us as we're doing trades, but use paper trading. So you're not using any money, and you can see how to do it. Like Darius here. Darius is using the paper trading feature on Weeble, I think. And plus you get 2 free stocks when you open that account, by the way. So if you go to morninginvest.com/Weeble, Tanda says, amen, Clayton. Worried about the women and children in Afghanistan. Then why do we bomb them exactly? Wolf Clan says, I would recommend a low paper trade, something like 50 to 100K. Nevada King, yeah, I definitely, yes, very strong company. The name of the books are, I'll put them in the chat. I mean, I'll put them in the, I'll put them in the show description. Trading analysis, technical analysis for dummies, as well as Day Trading for a Living by Andrew Aziz. Get those on Kindle. Yeah, I do sometimes, Mama. Oh, Rule Number 1 by Phil Town. Another one, yeah. Good one. You get 1 free stock, Elizabeth, for opening the account, and then once you make a deposit, you're entered. Right now in July, they're giving you a chance to win up to $3,000 in that second free stock when you make a $5 deposit. Yeah, Scott, it's not going well. But I did take a walk this morning. Peace out, Scott. Great seeing you, man. 4 red candles on the 3-minute for the first time today. So should get ready for AMC to dump, guys. All right, I'm going to do a little pee break and get ready for it to bank some big money here on AMC on this short. All right, guys, let's see what... Thank you, John. You lost 281 pounds? Holy crap. What streaming platform I'm using? I use vMix, which is my streaming software, and then we route everything through Restream, restream.io. But we test different things. My main software that you use on our here in the studio is vMix, which is a Windows-based program. Wow, John. What's your secret, man? Craig Wayne. Meme coins, pros versus cons. By the way, sorry, I'm managing this trade here on AMC, guys. This short, so we're on VWAP right now. Might get this bounce off VWAP. Might be a little bit of a pop here if you were trying to get a short position. If it bounces back over here on VWAP, take another little short position before it dives down here. So it's bouncing off VWAP right now. We'll see what happens here. Boom, man. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. Timothy, yes, I am interested in marijuana stocks or cannabis stocks. Maddie Bluebird, thank you so much. Really dig the tiki vibe. I do too. I like the laid back sort of, shorting AMC. Yeah. Hey, is it Jamaica? Been a while tuning back in. Great to see you. Here we go, man. Just keeps dropping. One more big wash, guys. One more big wash. I mean, this is how you make a boatload of money right here, guys. This is a really good trade right here on AMC. On this short position play on AMC. So, John, what about the diet? So you said a lot of exercise. I mean, I know that exercise is obviously definitely a part of it, but the diet is obviously like the 99% of it. So how did you lose like 281 pounds? What's your diet like look like every day? Is it just keto? Is that mostly what you're doing? I don't know, James. I don't know why you can't. That's weird. Can you check on your membership thing with YouTube? Maybe you logged in with a different account. That's oftentimes what happens. People's Google account is different than their YouTube account. Oh, John says mind first, with meditation, etc. Yes, diet second, exercise third. Lots of tracking of food, keto-based principles, but gradually reincorporating carbs. Nice. Yeah, I do intermittent fasting as well. I haven't done it as much lately. Therefore, the reason I put on some more weight. And I haven't been sleeping as well as I could. So there's a lot of that. It's just, there's a great book on intermittent fasting by Dr. Fung, F-U-N-G. In fact, he was just a guest on my friend Lewis Howe's podcast, School of Greatness. Here it goes. Look at AMC. Diving, baby. Like, if you don't make money on this short position on AMC, then I mean, you need to go back to school and study how to do this, because this is a classic textbook trade to make a lot of money right there, guys. A lot of money. Boom. Banking. Big time on this. Look at this. And it could even drop even further, but it's going to bounce off this position here. Might churn around and get all out of that stock. All out of AMC, guys. This could be a bounce to 35.5, 36 in here to take another short and then drop again. So it looked like the market makers were really trying to bank there at 34.5. Squeeze everyone out. Dr. Fung is the real deal. Yeah, John, you're absolutely right. I mean, years ago, reading, I really got started down this path years ago. I read an amazing book called The Okinawan Diet Plan. Now, of course, on the island of Okinawa, they have more people that live over 100 years old than anywhere else in the world. So these group of Harvard researchers, 2 of them moved there in the 70s to study why. And then they just ended up living there. And what they discovered is there was a number of reasons why these people lived to be over 100 years old and no signs of cancer, no heart disease, no Alzheimer's, nothing. Why? Number 1 was their diet, right? Even at the breakfast, they're eating like brown rice, or they're, with fish, or like just a very, 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 very good diet. I would encourage you to read that book, The Okinawan Diet Plan. It's probably been updated since I read it like 15 years ago. One of the other things they noticed too, in addition to the diet, was just that everyone walks places, and the elderly are treated as the most important aspect of their society. So in the United States, we push old people off into nursing homes, right? And then they lose their relevance, and they basically dwindle off and die, sadly. And in Okinawa, the elders are treated with the most amount of respect, and so they're surrounded by family. Go talk to grandpa to get the answer, because he's and so because of that, they are the most respected. They live so long because they're important. They feel important to the community and to society. A really fascinating book, guys. I did not expect to get into a diet convo on this channel. Hey, when you're watching stocks and talking stuff and seeing what's going on in the market. Also, I read, The Omnivore's Dilemma, which is by Michael Pollan a number of years ago. And then really got into, I spent a lot of time interviewing. I became really good friends with the author of Grain Brain, Dr. David Perlmutter. He became a good friend of Natalie and I. I interviewed him when his book came out, Grain Brain. I interviewed him on his next book after that about gut bacteria. That was, that was a life-changing book. So yeah, we try to eat, just very almost like no preservatives, none of that stuff. Andy, yes, I think what's going to happen is these companies on cruise stocks, I think it's going to be interesting. Because you're going to have these companies that are going to say, hey, you can't come on this ship unless you're vaccinated. And it's going to be interesting to see if people sue these companies over that. Are they able to take that position? Yeah, there's a lot of truth to that 10,000 steps, though. I do that. I try to do that, too, every day. That's the thing. It's like if you're trying to make, one of the things, too, is if you're trying to make money and better your family and learning how to trade and learn about real estate investing and building wealth for your family, but at the same time, you're also eating like crap and you're smoking and you're, drinking yourself to sleep, then how are you going to ever improve, right? What are you doing it for? Because you're going to die 20 years too early, The price on AMC? Oh, price on AMC. Well, I mean, I'm out of AMC, but I would say, I was waiting for a little bounce here off of VWAP up like 35. See if we got here or even 36. And then it plummet again. So another short pop there. But let's see what's going on in Carve. Volume dead on Carve. I would say, guys, look for a slow week next week. I would say slower markets. We're in the dog days of summer, and the liquidity just dropping. You know, we've come back to a couple of these same charts now. Michael, no, you can't do that on Webull because it's an OTC stock. Webull's a smaller exchange. You need one of the big boy exchanges for that. Exactly, Harry. Larry says AMC's been tracking Spice all morning with lag. Yeah, you know, Spice. Oh, Steve, a stock screener that I'm using. I use a couple of different ones, but I use Trading View. Like here's what I use right now. This is Trading View. So, you know, and I set screeners. So what's on my list right now with the market opening, a Carve, but so you can set your screener options here, pre-market, volume, change above 2%, last price, all of that good stuff. So that's how I set mine in the morning. So then you can make some notes exactly next to it. Really nice. You got your Pine editor here. Drops out of your view if you don't need it. So that's what I use, Trading View. That was a weak bounce for AMC. It's cracking down further, guys. But, you know, earlier you guys asked me, you said, Clayton, why do you think we're going to see a death drop? Somebody asked me that question right around here, I think. And I said, we're going to see a huge sell-off. You know, because we had overhead resistance, you know, and support. And we could have hit 38, 39. And what we saw yesterday, you know, we had 37, dropped to 31. Tanda, that's tough. Yeah. I hear you on the dad dying. You know, my dad died in January, so I get it. Yeah, you can't do it on Webull, and I can't give you advice on what stocks to buy. Like, it depends on what type of trader you are, Michael. Like, if you're looking to turn that 200 into a lot of money by day trading, that's a different animal. I can tell you what I'm trading, and you can kind of follow along and see if it's a fit for you. But if it's sort of like, if you want to have a trade that you are looking at that you want to hold long term, like an Apple or a Ford or something like that, that's a different question, right? But if you're looking to turn that 200 day trading into, you know, into something that's a different animal. What's the stock ticker for Gold Mountain? That is G. Let me pull it up here. Gold Mountain is GM. Here you go. GMTNF. And it's up. Today, it's already up nice this morning. GMTNF. GMTNF. Yeah. Tanda, you know, I would recommend, if you guys want to change habits, there's an excellent, excellent book by Cal Newport. I would definitely check out Cal Newport's book on changing habits. I'm going to pull it up here for you guys. It's really the only... I'm sorry, it's not Cal Newport. It's James Clear. James Clear wrote an amazing book called Atomic Habits. Tiny changes, remarkable results. He tells the story of basically being in a hospital bed, thinking he was dying, basically, at the start of the book. And he walks you through how he just discovered this methodology. It's really that's why, look at this. 47,000 ratings, 5-star reviews. This is truly, I think, the best habit book I've ever read. It's a game changer. Check that book out. Atomic Habits. You want to change your life. Works. It works. It works. It works. Small little steps. You know, the thing is, most people think they need to make radical change, right? But remember, you've got 365 days in a year. So like if you want to learn how to day trade, right? You want to learn how to make money, take that $200 that someone was just asking about. Well, if you watch this show every day and join us every day you're going to build a little bit more knowledge on top of it. And in 365 days, imagine how much more intelligent you will be if you tune in every day with us and watch and read a book and read 20 pages a day in a book. 20 pages a day is 40, you know, then the next day, then 60, then 80. And before you know it, you're pounding through books once a week and improving. And the same thing with a little bit of a habit, you know, instead of, okay, you want to walk 10,000 steps a day, start with a few hundred, you know, then get to 1,000, then 1,500, especially if you're coming back from an injury or something like that. And all of those little tiny things compounded is how you build really long-term meaningful habits. But he has a whole system. It's really, really good. Again, Atomic Habits by James Clear. Cannot recommend it enough. Check that book out. You can do it, Tanda. We're all pulling for you. Imagine if you took that time and money and energy and put it towards this, you know? And look, no one's perfect, you know. Same thing, you know. I do the same thing, right? John says, look, it's all about days, right? 880 days tracking foods, 777 days sober, 459 days not gambling. Boom. Tanda, that's what this group's all about. Somebody asked earlier, but how like someone lost 400,000 trying to make a trade this morning. First of all, I don't understand how on this trade you could have lost money on a short position on AMC today. Like this was a textbook game changer. I mean, this was a perfect setup. But if you don't know what you're doing, you know, you want to study how to recycle trades. Like if you're at this position and like you haven't seen the rest of the day yet, like all of this is still not unfolded for the day, and you're here, you know. And you're like, oh my God, I've somehow lost 400,000 shorting AMC, and I don't know what I'm doing. Well, then you got to study you better learn and study how to recycle trades, right? So that you can dig your way out of that. Learn how to recycle shares. Dig your way back out of that. It's going to require some skill, but you can do it. So just learn how to recycle. Like look it up, study it as a strategy. Here's another little play here on DTSS. It's going to be a nice little short wash long here on DTSS. Doom. Picked up here. Wash out. Yeah, there are a lot of good apps for calorie tracking. Like if you use an iPhone, I think it's on Android as well. It's called Lose It, Lose It. Like I just lost my keys, Lose It. That's a really good one. And I would recommend getting a Bluetooth scale as well. Get a Bluetooth scale like Eufy, EUFY. The Eufy scale is great, and it works with your smartphone. So you step on it first thing in the morning. It syncs with your phone, syncs with your app. It syncs right in with Lose It. So you're tracking calories. You're stepping on the scale. You're getting your body fat index. You're getting all of that first thing in the morning, and you're sort of tracking all of this right with your. Withings also has a scale. Withings is also good as well. But I personally use Eufy. That's the highest rated one that I've studied. It's made by Anchor, one of my favorite companies. They make a lot of good cables and smart cables and things like that. Yeah, it's a good one too. This could be a nice bounce back here. Take another short on AMC. If it bounces back to 36 off of this level here for another short on AMC. So let's see, it's going to probably hit this and further. All right, guys, I'm going to jump. I got a meeting coming up in a few minutes I want to prepare for with my team. But that's really going to be the trade. I might take this position here if it hits 36 for another, before it plummets here. You know, I'm normally pretty long biased, but this is just a classic day. Great money to be made on AMC here. So be careful, everyone. Again, be safe. Yeah, Michael, I think so for sure. I mean, when you see the upside. So I'm going to go, if I do go on this was to be a smaller size, because the volume is just not as strong. All right, guys, much love to all of you guys. Great to see you guys today. We'll be back here tomorrow morning, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time for your news. There's 35.5. And then, of course, we move into the day trades as well. All right, guys, much love to all of you guys. We'll see you back here a little bit later today. I have a video I'm putting together today on an interesting company that I'm looking at right now in the shipping space. So you can check that out a little bit later today. Subscribe to the channel, guys. Smash that like button. So be careful here, guys, on AMC. Be careful. I'm taking a smaller position on this, 36. All right, guys, I got to go. Peace. Love.